Fraud came out a while ago, actually. Like it's been 2 weeks. And I'm a little bit I'm a little bit late to the party, you could say. I did film my entire reaction to Fraud. Unfortunately, I have a skill issue, and the video was horrible. I've deleted it since. So now you're getting this compensation. Just going straight into the videos that I wanted to make, and I was waiting on making for Fraud. Here we have a tier list. Lovely little tier list. I curated it myself because none of the other ones had what I wanted. We're going to be ranking all of the bosses. All of them. If it has a health bar, it's fair game. Everything from the Maurice in the first level, to Gabrielle, to this random hideous mess in 1E. If it has a health bar, it's fair game. I don't know if I need to explain too much of the rules. There aren't really any rules. Opinions. This is my opinion. Everything here is a result of my own personal opinion. With that being said, tiers we have going from bottom to top shouldn't even be bosses. This one's kind of a special case. I'll get into it later. Alright, I guess. Good, great, very nice, and peak. I was originally going to make this a worst to best ranking, and it was going to be scripted and all that, but that took too long. So instead, here's a tier list video. And yeah, I guess let's just get on with it. Starting with Maurice, first boss in the game. Not really too much to go, but it doesn't have to be too much, you know. Really, it is just a common enemy that's given a boss health bar because, you know, you've only seen two other enemies. They're both pretty similar, so this one seems different. On your first playthrough, it shouldn't give you too much trouble if you grasp the concept of parrying. I also like how the room it's in is very curated for Maurice. They're definitely more at an advantage than you are. But overall, not much I can really say. It's the first boss in the game. A little bit uninteresting, but it doesn't have to be that much. Going into Alright. And then, immediately, the second entry, have to get into a controversial opinion. The secret Swordsmachine encounter in 02. Everything about 02, I really like. I like how secretive a lot of it is, how it's, you know, it's all out of the way. It's fun. It's fun. It's very much a me thing, but it's fun. And this encounter really exemplifies that because it's so hard to find. Even whenever I know where it is, I have trouble getting to it because it's confusing. But then again, I still think it's pretty neat. Enough to be put above Maurice, but I don't know if it's enough to be up another tier. Now, regular Swordsmachine, on the other hand, honestly, going into this, I was debating whether or not to put the secret one above the regular one. I have decided I will not be doing that, because that's a bit ridiculous. Because, like, even though the secret one has a lot of quirks that I like more, the first one is just straight up better. I like how unique it is, in the sense that there's an entire level between its two phases. There's only like 3 encounters before you fight the Swordsmachine, and then you do, and fun fact, out of any level in the entire game, it was 03 that took me the longest on my first time. Because, I don't know, this is actually the first FPS game I've ever properly played, and I think, I don't know, Swordsmachine really gave me a lot of trouble my first time. But it's fine. I just had a skill issue. Nowadays, obviously, I'm better and I can beat it very easily. Sometimes under like 15 seconds, and it's just evaporated. And I think that's a good thing, you know? Yeah. Really cool, and I actually like it, the fact that it takes a while to become a common enemy. Like, you have to wait 6 entire layers, which is more than I can say for the next boss on the list, Cerberus, final boss of Prelude, Guardian of Hell. Right, Cerberus. So I'm not going to factor in the fact that it becomes a common enemy into the placement that the boss is. Imagine does anyone else have the shared experience of seeing it for the first time and being terrified that, oh, the statues are alive. Okay, the statues are alive. Oh, there's 2 of them. I beat the statues. Look at this room. It's lined with more statues. It's a lovely experience. I think Cerberus is fairly underrated. It's at this point where I want to mention, I play on Standard. I do not play on Brutal. I've heard and seen that these things are horrible for the people that do play on Brutal. But me personally, I think that's not really a me problem. Haha. It's fun. Underrated. Really like the music track, actually. It's a weird compliment. Definitely, in terms of, like, overall, it's probably one of the less impressive ones. But I like the drums in the second half. Overall, just a really cool fight. It is 10 o'clock, and I actually have a decent sleep schedule, so doing this late at night, I'm a little bit tired, but we just started, so it's gonna be fun. Cancerous rodent and very cancerous rodent. Okay, listen. I actually like very cancerous rodent a lot more than its slightly less cancerous counterpart. Just gonna be completely transparent here. I think it's funnier, and also it's an actual fight. I don't really know how much detail I can go into with these guys, because it's really just a one-off encounter. It's a secret encounter. I do really like those, and I think it's just a funny little thing. Hideous Mass, though. Hideous Mass. Oh. First of all, bonus points for the fact that you can skip the fight by just soaping him. Lovely. Second, can we just talk about it? It's so weird to fight this boss after fighting the common variant of Hideous Mass all the time. Because, like, he actually has health. As opposed to the other encounters where he gets evaporated instantly because it's just burnt muscle memory into me that the only places I ever hit him at are his weak points. So he really just has 20 HP. He melts very quickly. First fight, though, really cool. Helps that Castle Vein. Pretty good theme. I definitely think Hideous Mass deserves to be at the top. And then Agony and Tundra. I'm very biased towards Swordsmachines. You can't really tell by the fact that these ones are kind of middling, but I love the Swordsmachine so much. And Agony and Tundra just go the extra mile. They have their own specific weaknesses. Agony is weak to explosions, and Tundra is weak to electricity. Agony acts like a permanently enraged Swordsmachine, while Tundra acts as a Phase 2 Swordsmachine. Cool little dynamic. I really appreciate them. Fun. They're so cool. They even get to come back in a future encounter. But for now, I'm gonna say that they go right below Hideous Mass. Notice how there's not even really a bad tier. Like, this one is a special case, which I'll get into it in like 2 entries. But there isn't really a bad tier. V2, oh boy, V2. Big man. First heavy hitter of the list, I think. First time experience with V2 is really interesting. It's sort of this elaborate dance that you're doing with a machine that moves exactly like you do, with all of your attacks just slightly weaker. I don't really know what to say about V2. There's just so much. Versus, right, yeah. Battle theme, really good. We love Versus. It's kind of generally accepted that it's one of the best boss themes, despite being one of the earliest ones. I'm gonna say high, very nice tier. Not quite peak. That's like reserved for the best of the best. Moving on from our first heavy hitter to the lowest spot on the list. The 2-3 Mind Flayer. Sheer Heart Attack. Oh boy. See, there are 3 encounters on this list that I think should not be bosses. This isn't ranked based off of how much I don't think they should be bosses. No, this is just the 3 of them being basically quarantined from the rest of the list, and this is its own little mini worst to best ranking. Mind Flayer is definitely the worst of the 3, sadly. It's a pretty unique concept. It's hard to put into words, so I'll just explain it by explaining what I would have done differently. Personally, I think get rid of the first one, and then for the second one, don't spawn it in at the same time as the common enemies. Spawn all of the common enemies, including the drones that spawn in midway through. Spawn all of those in at once, and then once all of those ones have been dealt with, then bring in the Mind Flayer. First of all, second room, much cooler than just random catwalk in the first room. And also, it just flows better. Like, why have it introduced as a mini-boss whenever it becomes a common enemy in the next room? This time I am factoring it into the ranking because it's literally in the same level, unlike Cerberus. This won't be the only time that I do that. Oh, you'll see later. Anyways, Mind Flayer is a cool encounter, but it should not be a boss, and for that reason, it's going at the bottom. Corpse of King Minos is interesting. On the one hand, it's kind of awesome in the most generic way possible, you know? Like, yes, you can parry a guy, you can parry the punch of a man who's over 200 times larger than you. Like, that's really awesome. But, like, what else? Not really anything. He can summon a black hole. You'd think that would be interesting, but it moves like nothing, and it's really easy to dodge. You don't even have to focus on parrying him, because he has his hands, like, over the arena. You can just wail on his hands. You know? And then the second phase, once he starts shooting out projectiles that can be parried, it's just over at that point. Like, buddy, I don't know what to tell you. For being the corpse of King Minos, you sure are kind of a pushover. The hand, though. The hand is really annoying. Especially, it has been so long since I fought the hand using the weapons that you would have when fighting the hand. No, instead I always just fight him, you know, jackhammer, jumpstart, saw blade, boom, it's gone. Also, docking points for lame battle theme, and docking points for not having a skip. It's really annoying. I'm not counting off the beaten track. That's actually it's literally just a bug. Corpse King Minos, I feel like, belongs above Hideous Mass, but not in very nice. Gabrielle, on the other hand, oh, look, we've reached the big man. Hi, big man. Yeah, main character of the game. Here's the thing. It's a mix of really cool things and poorly executed things, but overall, I'd say it's really good, and just gonna say right now, putting him in very nice tier, below V2. So, you know, pretty cool. You're fighting God's will, but you're fighting God's will inside of a tumor. I like the beating heart in the background, but if you ask me, you could have done something more prestigious, even with gluttony. Like, I don't know, make a cool little cathedral made out of bones. Bones are everywhere in gluttony. You don't have to focus on the meat and the flesh. You could still have those aspects, just focus on a cathedral made out of bones. Like, that's so much cooler of a concept than just a mouth. The beating heart is cool though, I'll admit. Divine Intervention is a nice song that I don't care for. Like, objectively, it's really cool, very fitting, and a lot of it would be reused in Death of God's Will, which is a song that I do very much care about. But yeah, it's just a weird mishmash that has more good than bad, I'd say, clearly. I'm glad that someone like him is the main character. And then, moving on to Flesh Prison. Nice. I hate him. just gonna be blunt here. I do not like him at all. With that being said, I do think he deserves to place relatively high. He's so punchable in a way that I cannot describe. He is the only enemy in the game, only enemy, this including both bosses and common enemies, that can heal themselves infinitely. Like the double battles against the blue and red enemies. Yeah, sure, they can heal themselves, but only up to the other one's health. Flesh Prison does not matter. If you don't take out the eyes that it summons, it will just go back up to max. And it was so annoying because I was not able to get past P1 and get to P2 because of Flesh Prison. With that being said, I don't know if I would say it's a bad fight. I think Flesh Prison is neat, and I think, honestly, we need more bosses that are innovative like it, even if this specific outing of an innovative boss really annoys me. I'll say right below Corpse of King Minos. Speaking of Minos, I don't think I have to justify this. Minos Prime goes in peak tier. Nothing will ever replicate my first time beating him, even though I did have a stronger reaction to beating Flesh Prison, because I always knew that I was probably going to have an easier time with Minos than Flesh Prison, and that was true. I can tell you that from experience because it happened like less than a week ago. I remember it vividly. It was really cool, but it still had a stronger reaction to Flesh Prison because I just hated him so much more. Minos is like not just an interesting boss, an interesting character. He died trying to defend the rights of his people. He dared to defy heaven, but you know, his soul continues to live on. He's so interesting. You know, it could have been poorly executed, like, oh, why is he now attacking me? I just saved him. But no, he has a meaningful reason for targeting you. Because he's not mad at, he is mad at heaven, but more so than that, he just loves humanity, and he also targets anything that harmed humanity. That includes you, because, you know, machine of war, that's your entire purpose. He's cool, okay? He's really cool. Cool boss theme, cool just boss, cool character, peak. I don't know if he's gonna stay number one, I don't think he is, but peak. Okay. Moving on to Act 2, we have the one enemy that I'm more biased towards than the Swordsmachine, and that's the Insurrectionist. Okay, I just, like, they're really fun to fight. I don't know what it is. Anytime there's an Insurrectionist, I have so much more fun than anything else. They're very melee focused, which is kind of rare for this game. And the fight itself, you know it's good whenever there's so many options to fight, and even the most basic one, the one you're likely to start out with, is still really cool. You know, you can bounce across on different platforms while having to avoid the hot gold dust. The Insurrectionist doesn't have to worry about the hot gold dust. Or, you know, there's nothing stopping you from just leaving and fighting anywhere on the map that you please. Do you want to go to spawn? You can do that. Do you want to go inside? It might be messy, but you can do that. Or do you want to be sneaky and save up all the dual wield power-ups to obliterate him in under 10 seconds? You can do that. So much variety given to a boss who is also just fun on its own. As an enemy, it's gonna be pretty controversial, but honestly, I'm tempted to put him above Gabe. It's my list, I'm going to. I'm sorry. Trust me, you guys, Gabe fans, can get some reverence in a second. Mysterious Druid Knight and Owl. I'd say out of the 3 quote-unquote joke bosses, this is the best one. By a lot, actually. For a few reasons. First of all, it's just the funniest one. I don't know what to tell you. They even went the extra mile and gave them extra dialogue in the sandbox mode, although I won't let that affect the ranking too much. You can either fight him normally and, suffer, or you can be awesome and use the sharpshooter, so whenever he does fuller auto, all of his projectiles fly back at him and he dies instantly. Like, that's probably the objectively correct thing to do there. But also, as a final cool little bonus point, beating him gives you access to the knowledge of how to get the Saw Blade launcher, which is that's just cool. I appreciate that. It's my second favorite weapon in the game, actually. I don't know if I would say it's either that or the Jumpstart nail gun. Anyways, definitely in this tier. I'm not sure where. I'm gonna say in the middle of these two. Yeah. And then, okay. I know we talked about Minos really not that long ago. Was it like 3 entries ago? And I was like, wow, he's so peak. And I was complimenting him all. Yeah, okay. V2 rematch. I am tempted to put above Minos, but for now, I'll hold back. Really, it depends on which one you think is cooler. Minos is objectively the more interesting one, and V2 is objectively probably has better gameplay because they're a lot more interesting, more variety. But what do you think is cooler? The soul of a man who died trying to protect his people, or you're literally just you, but better, who you previously defeated and is now desperately wanting to kill you? Oh, and also the second phase involves you sliding down the side of the pyramid, both of you shooting at each other. That would be so cool if it wasn't really easy for some reason. Like, also, the health is split up weird. First phase, 50 health. Second phase, 30? It should be an even 40-40 if you ask me. Because honestly, yeah, first phase sometimes drags on for too long, and second phase goes by way too quickly. I think, honestly, if it was split 40-40, V2 would definitely be above Minos, but I think that's the one single thing holding it back from truly besting him. Still, really cool. Duel is a great theme. The setting is great. It's the only level in Greed that I particularly care for that much. I'm sorry. It's great. Thank you. Moving on to Wrath, we have the Ferryman. Wow, the Ferryman. So Ferryman is an interesting guy. It's so difficult to talk about the Ferryman. It's definitely something that's more to be experienced than to be heard. Look, all I'm saying is that it's so difficult to talk. It's definitely in one of these two tiers. It's above the Insurrectionist. I don't know if it's above the first V2 encounter or not. I'm gonna say it is. Honestly, I like fast enemies, even if a lot of times they can also annoy me. Ferryman does not annoy me with its speed, because by this point in the game you have Saw Blade Launcher, you have Screwdriver, you've had Marksman, you have everything you need to make this fight easy, but still it's only so easy. You know, you're fighting perhaps one of the coolest guys that isn't like a very, very important character. And I'll say this, you guys are gonna hate me, excluding any of the themes for final layer bosses or for the Prime Sanctums, I think Lighten My Darkness is the best boss theme. It is close. It is close. I will say that. Close race between Halls of Sacrilegious Remains and Mirror Rim. But I'll say for now, it's my favorite one. Also, you can skip the fight just by paying him, which is well hinted to by this book if you read it. And I like that because he's a chill guy. I don't want to harm the ferryman. I heard a weird noise. Sorry, my bad. Leviathan. If this had been before the revamp update, I'd say Leviathan would probably be, you know, right below Agony and Tundra. Now, however, after it, I would honestly say that Leviathan is able to slink its way up to peak. And hear me out for just a second. Okay, you listening? Are you listening? Okay, good. So in the second phase, instead of it breaks the boat, and the platform is now its tail slinking around in a circle. It is a giant snake, a giant aquatic snake made out of people, and it shoots fireballs, laser beams. Oh, also it tries to lunge at you. You can parry it. You can parry the giant fish made out of people. Like, that's just... this is so cool. I love this game. And also it has other aspects around it. Like, a lot of this may seem similar to the talk about King Minos, where a big guy, down to size, you know, all that, you know, pretty interesting. But Leviathan also has some other details that make it more interesting, such as the fact, first of all, the theme is actually good and not a dumpster fire. Like I don't even remember what the Corpse of King Minos theme song was, but Abyss and the Serpent is honestly sounds like something from a completely different game, and you know what, for once I actually mean that as a compliment. I like this thing so much, I actually got a 3D print of it. You can't see it, but it's next to me on my desk. It's really cool, actually. Anyways, Leviathan is peak. Big distance away from these two, I think, but also a big distance away from Ferryman. Anyways, Double Hideous Mass. Nothing will ever replace the moment of hearing Halls of Sacrilegious Remains for the first time. Just like, yeah, out of all the characters that have a motif, Hideous Mass is probably the weirdest one. Yeah, I'm considering this a Hideous Mass motif. What am I supposed to think? Honestly, it is so easy, and it is one of the key examples on why this one feels so much different compared to any other encounter. These two don't even get a slight health increase, I don't think. They honestly, sometimes it feels like they evaporate even faster than the common variants. I haven't done the research. Do they actually have less health? It feels like they do, and I don't know how to feel about that. It's a really easy encounter, but it's also a really cool encounter, as is everything in Heresy. We're in Heresy now, by the way. Just buckle up. We're gonna be in for a good ride. I want to put it above the original. I don't know if it's civil to say such a thing, but I'm going to. Yeah, actually putting these two above the original. Wow. Can't believe it. Agony and that is not Agony and Angry and Rude. Okay. It's an insurrectionist fight. It's a really boring concept. Flat arena, fighting two insurrectionists. Okay, sure, whatever. Their names aren't even that interesting. However, let's get this. It's a secret boss. It's an insurrectionist. You fight it while listening to altars of apostasy. This is perfectly curated to be a boss that I just am obsessed with. Honestly, it's going next to Double Hideous Mass. Above or below, I'll say below. Sure. Yeah. Spoiler alert, my favorite of the red and blue bosses, I guess. Interesting to know. I really just am that easy to please. Gabrielle Phase 2. Honestly, most of the problems that I had with Phase 1 are completely remedied. Like, genuinely. Unlike Divine Intervention, Death of God's Will is not only objectively good, but in my opinion, I love it. Okay? And the theme, the setting, instead of just being inside of a tumor with an admittedly cool beating heart behind you, you're now in something that looks holy, actually. Big ominous organ, candles surrounding him, the entire room bathed in red to reflect his seething hatred for you. And then eventually, second phase transitions. Instead of saying anything hateful or petty, he asks you if that's the best you've got. And it's at this point where you realize that he's not doing this to kill you. He's doing this because he's enjoying the fight. And it is one of the greatest examples of character development in honestly anything. It seems like it should be sudden. It is really not. I don't know what to say. It is so peak. Everything about it. I am so excited for Treachery. You know, I'm gonna say it right now. He's just gonna be sitting on some like random like mound. He's just gonna be sitting facing away from V1, thinking and pondering. That's my prediction. Anyways, P2. Fun fact, out of the 4 bosses in the Prime Sanctums, Flesh Monopton is the only one I did not die to, which is fun. I actually died twice to the Idled Stalker room, and then the amount of I died to Sisyphus, I'll say that in a second. Flesh Monopton, beat it first try, actually. It's pretty easy, just take out the eyes, and then just sap away at its health. Don't stop moving, that's very important. But you know, you just follow those guidelines, you'll be fine. Surprisingly easy, but still nonetheless intimidating. I'm gonna put it above, in fact I'm actually gonna put him in very nice tier. I like Pandemonium a lot as a theme, and I like the arena more than, marginally better than P1's arena. Yeah. Oh, Sisyphus. Supposedly, the hardest encounter in the game. I would say that only applies on standard. I'm gonna take a wild guess and just assume that Radiant Cerberus on Brutal is harder than Sisyphus, even if it's also on Brutal. That's just a guess. Anyone that plays on Brutal, tell me if this is true. Anyways, you wanna know how many attempts it took me to beat Sisyphus? First time ever fighting him. Wanna know how long it took me? 3 restarts. It took me 4 attempts to beat him. And I think that is so silly, because I was really worried about that. Flesh Prison took me like 4 times that amount, and all the times I've ever fought him. Sisyphus, 4 attempts. Really cool fight. Honestly, expanding on everything that Minos did, I'd say Minos wins out in terms of story and character, and also battle theme. But Sisyphus wins out overall in gameplay. I actually had the perfect moment whenever I was first fighting him, because the motif, the Sands of Tide motif, kicked in at the same time he got down to half health and said, "Yes, that's it!" Something like that. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I didn't think before I spoke. Anyways, Sisyphus. I don't know if I can put in peak. Like, you don't mind if I put Ferryman above Sisyphus Prime? Is that cool with you all? Okay, good to know. Anyways, moving on to, finally, Act 2 and the Encore levels. Starting with a controversial favorite of mine, Minotaur. A lot of people don't like him because they think his first phase is annoying. What you call annoying, I call innovative. We need more bosses that do stuff like this. Give me more Minotaurs. Give me more Durians. Give me more whatever the hell the Mirror Reaper was on. The battle theme is really cool, really fitting. We're putting the Minotaur right below Sisyphus. It's honestly, the second phase feels weaker. I could have seen a way that they could have made it work with the second phase and the first phase being swapped around. I can see that working, actually. And maybe it'd even be better. The more I think about it, the more it kind of would have been cool to see the Minotaur being structured like the Swordsmachine. I know that sounds weird, but like, think about it. You know, the first time you see it, you actually engage with it. And like in the room where it kills the mannequins. And then you fight it in the traditional way. And then instead, the second phase is much later when you're on the tracks. Like, I just think, honestly, that would have been really cool when I think about it. Anyways, I have sad news. We have to go back in a slum of disappointing bosses. Starting with Big John. Oh boy. At least this isn't a worst to best ranking, and I could have saved this very controversial opinion for the end. I don't like him. I do not like Big John. He's going somewhere in here, which is a shame. We have not seen a boss fight being alright since Limbo. That was so long ago. Sadly, though, yeah, I have to. I don't enjoy this fight at all. I'll admit, if the little tablet at the end revealed how to get the jackhammer instead of 7S, that probably would have raised it a whole tier. Just being completely honest. I like that it's the closest we'll ever get to another V2 fight because, you know, reconstruct what? Fun fact, V2 is the only enemy that the Death Catcher cannot revive, which is fun. Can even revive other idols. Wow. It's just boring. I think what else would have benefited? Don't give it Theme of Cancer. Mysterious Druidite and Owl was fine because their entire energy matches that song really well. This one, no. Give them a track more akin to Dusk. You know, the original source material. It could even literally just be Big John's theme from that game. That would have actually been so much better. And you think it can't get worse? Wrong. Here's the second of the three enemies that go in this tier, because sadly, okay, this is a really, really cool encounter. The first Gutter Man in Light Up the Night, the one that bursts down the door, as Do Robots Dream of Eternal Sleep, the music swells and expands into this powerful whatever music term is applicable here. It should not have been a boss fight. There is zero reason that the Gutter Man needed a health bar in that sequence. Honestly, I'm having this weird Mandela effect where they actually removed the health bar of the Gutter Man, even though I don't think they did. It's weird. They should, honestly. Honestly, I think that it would be better if the Gutter Man was not considered a boss, even though it's a cool encounter. Then we move on to the Earth Mover. Wow! Originally, I considered the entirety of 7-4 to be the boss If that were the case, it would be far above anything in this tier, like easy number 1. But alas, I considered that was a bit unfair. So instead we have the security system and the brain. The security system annoys me a little bit, because it's so janky. The rocket launchers instill a very weird reaction in me that's just pure annoyance. The poles, I don't like how thin their hitbox is, and the mortars actually don't annoy me, but they inevitably always kill me because I keep forgetting they're there. The actual main laser thing is a non-issue compared to them. Once everything else is gone and its shields are off, just literally do anything. It dies really quickly. It only has 1/7 of its health left. I'm going to put it below this Swordsmachine, if you don't mind. As for the brain, I mean, I like it more than the security system, but it feels like an anticlimax, you know? I feel like we could have done more than just pirouette around this horrific thing. Saw blade launcher, maybe jump. I don't remember if jumpstart works on this thing. I think it does. You know, screwdriver, and you just keep shooting at it. Once the parryable things come out, the fight goes down much quicker, which is a running theme with a lot of the fights, actually. As soon as it starts shooting parryable things, then it actually becomes a lot easier. The brain, I can't in good conscience put above most of the things here, but I do think I'll put it above Agony and Tundra, just to be nice. And so, we have officially reached Fraud. I probably should have given a spoiler warning. I'll probably edit that in to the intro. But let me say, there is a bit of a slope, a downward slope with the end of violence. You know, we got, yeah, that's gonna change. Fun fact. All of the bosses in Fraud are pretty good. It's starting strong with the Mirror Reaper. Oh god, the Mirror Reaper. I don't even want to imagine what fighting this thing outside the original context is like. I know it's in Cybergrind, I've seen the videos. It looks hellish to fight in conjunction with a bunch of other heavy enemies. But the fight itself, oh my god, it is so... It's fun. I don't know if a lot of people will agree with that sentiment, but it is fun. And it's also interesting that this is one of the few fights in the game where you don't run towards the boss guns a-blazing. You run away from this thing, which I love. I was on call with a friend one time, and they even commented on the fact that all the other bosses I'll go right into and just rip and tear. This one, on the other hand, I'm actively running away from it. I'd like to think that that's intentional. It's horrifying, I'm gonna be honest. And I want to put it above Sisyphus. I really do, okay? You guys okay with that? Honestly, I'm gonna put him above Fairyman. Yeah, right now, Mirror Reaper is in the top 5 of the list. Can you believe it? I am clinically insane. I really... Calm down. I am this far into my yap session. I haven't even mentioned the main gimmick of the fight. I didn't even mention... Yeah, mirrors. It just goes invisible, except for its reflection in the mirror. And honestly, if you just go vertical, you can stomp it pretty quickly. Moving then to the weakest fight, but still pretty good fight, we have the Triple Power. Originally, this list was going to be a nice and even 36 counters, but then the patch came out, and now these clowns have a health bar, which was always for the best, I think. It was really weird that they didn't. Like, wow, what a loser, you don't even have a health bar. And here's the thing. You might predict what I said when I mentioned about these two, about how they became common enemies. The powers are, weirdly enough, the only exception to this rule. I love these things. They're so annoying. I hate them. But you know, objectively, they're pretty cool. You can either go at it their way, you know, we're just going to pretend like the first one doesn't exist, and we're going to focus on the double encounter for a second. You can either go about it their way, by, you know, whichever one is attacking you attack that, and you just kind of ignore the other one. Or you can go into it just being like, it's my way or the highway, and then just attack both of them. They will stop taking turns, and they'll both wail on you at the same time, but, I don't know, hopefully you're proud of your actions. Also, I don't have a problem with the arena, unlike I did with Gabe round 1, because, you know, they don't have as much to live up to, and it's a nice, and at this point, it's just a nice callback. Also, their battle theme is pretty good. They're enough, they always feel like mini-bosses every time they're around, so I don't mind the fact that, once again, yeah, next room, they're already introduced without a health bar. It's fine, actually. I would be really upset if they weren't. I'd be upset if they were, because that would be 2 other encounters I'd have to add to the list. I really don't feel like that. Anyways, the dual ferryman fight, Agonis and Rudraksha. I don't know which is which, honestly. I haven't been paying attention. I'm going to assume Agonis is the red one, and Rudraksha is the blue one. It just feels right. Anyways, you know, blue ferryman, you know, it's just normal, and then the red ferryman is potentially not even a ferryman. It's potentially a mirror reaper, going based off of other logic that we've found out. Yeah, anyways, one of them's invisible except for its reflection in the mirror. I have actually fought these guys, even though I had to go through the pain that was the 8-3 Red Skull route. Trust me, if you can avoid it, don't do that. I don't want to go on this tangent here, but oh my god, it's genuinely unfun. These two, though, they're pretty cool. I like fighting ferrymen. Always a neat encounter. I don't know where I'm going to put them. Probably somewhere in this tier. Honestly, yeah, sure. Put them below Agony and Tundra. And finally, final boss of fraud, Gurion. Let me let you on a little bit of a secret. Yeah, Gurion's my favorite boss. No build-up, no nothing. Gurion is so cool. Everything about the fight, it especially got better. Like, before I was like, okay, yeah, this is a bit of a stretch, and then the patch happened. You know, I don't know if its health was affected, or if it just got, like, a visual 2 health bars to just make it more obvious when the second phase started. But no, when the arena starts moving around, I don't suffer from motion sickness. I'm very sorry for those of you that do. Me personally, I didn't find this to be a problem. I can see why it might be. To me, this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Okay? Oh my god. The falling mechanic. I really hope this is used more often in Treachery. Even if it's not used that often, we need more brief moments like this. This honestly feels like an encore level kind of gimmick. You know, it really reminds me of the heating system gimmick from 0E. Honestly, I thought it would be a mess. You know, I kind of rage quit after 8-3 and the section with the triple idled hideous mass. So I never got to actually get my raw reaction to Gurion. But I saw it for the first time on another video, and I thought it was going to be like a mess. It was going to be confusing. Little did I know, it was actually really cool. Really easy for me to wrap my head around even. And I ended up enjoying the fight a lot. Even if the battle theme is actually one of the ones I care about less of that's only because it's fraud. Honestly, if The Fall was put in any other layer, it'd probably be one of the better ones. Just you know, high expectations, all that. I could go over everything, all the unique attacks, all the It's so good. I don't know how else to phrase this. It is peak. It invented peak. And yes, even still, I'd also like to remind you, if 7-4 was being counted, it would still place above Gurgan, because, like, Gurgan's cool, but, like, come on. And now with that, we have the final... We have the final one. Final 4 encounters. You can't even see them that well. This is annoying. Hold on, let me just... Manually. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I didn't have a good PNG, so I just kind of did whatever for these. Radiant Swordsmachine in Prelude Encore. Random encounter. This one I could see being justified as being in the not a boss category, but I don't know. It's a Swordsmachine. I'm biased. You know this about me. It's been a while since we've touched on a Swordsmachine like that. It's been since Limbo, but remember, I love these things. And this one's no exception. This one's in an environment that is well suited for Swordsmachine. And also it's, I mean, in more ways than one. This is literally a room in 02 that Swordsmachine fought enemies in off camera. It's just against one of them. It's not that difficult. It's pretty neat. I actually don't hate the Radiance mechanic. Unlike, you know, I know a lot of people do, because they think it's a weird way of just artificially increasing the difficulty. It doesn't, I don't really feel the effect that much, because I don't play on Brutal. I'll get to that in a second. This guy is being, you know, in my worst to best ranking, I had him placed like really high, like above Flesh Prison. I don't know if I'd do all that. I'm gonna put him right below Cerberus. And now Radiant Cerberus. Potential for one of the hardest bosses in the game, depending on what difficulty you play on. But I don't play on that difficulty, and in my personal experience, it's just a slightly harder version of this one, of the regular Cerberus fight. Honestly, I don't even know where to put it. This has to be one of the hardest ones to rank, because really, where am I supposed to put it? Like, you look, in theory, it's not that different from regular Zerberite, but like, is it below it? Is it above it? Sure, I'll put it above it for the sole fact that I like that the part of the song with the drums plays the entire time. Also, they brought the original Cerberus thing back, and I think that's nice. Anyways, this is the final one. This random hideous mass in Limbo Encore that gets periodically idled. I just think this is confusing, but like the Gutter Man, it's a pretty cool encounter. Honestly, between the two of them, I don't know where I would rank this one, but I like the mechanic of the idols, so I'll put it above it, if that's okay. Don't have that much to say on it. It's a really cool arena, pretty cool encounter. If you obliterate the hideous mass fast enough, you can just ignore the idols. So, yeah. Anyways, final spot, final one on this list. It's nothing too crazy, but it is the little image that I had the most fun tweaking, if you couldn't tell. I mean, look at that. It's so good that this is the one that I used as a preview for this video. I put it on my community post. Anyways, it's fun. It's chaotic, which I really feel like shows off Limbo Encore in general. You're fighting Agony and Tundra, and also an idle hideous mass that you just have to let stay there. Once you break the idol, the idol was radiant, so now the hideous mass is also radiant. I really appreciate the hideous mass not being radiant from the start. Like, that's actually really appreciated. Thank you, guys. That would have been horrible. But you know, it's fine. It's a cool encounter. I like it. I appreciate the fact that it exists, and also it gets me excited for whatever the heck the other Encore levels have in store. because apparently they're not coming out until the game isn't in early access anymore, which is something I just figured out like a week ago, even though Ultra Revamp has been out for a while. As for where I'm gonna put it, sure. We'll put it right here, because I don't know, and I feel like it. So yeah, that's my ranking of all of the bosses in Ultrakill. I know that this is kind of wacko. Let me guys know what you think. Let me know if you have any of your own opinions. And yeah, if you enjoyed this, subscribe. I'll make more videos like this. This is Sportcore, signing off. Goodbye.